Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, awesome. I didn't know if I could unmute myself. All right, guys, tonight is the last night of our book study on the 4 color personalities of an MLM. And I think that this book study has been really fun and really interesting. And tonight's chapters are no different. And so I wanted to talk to you guys first about the 3 magic questions. And it said, oftentimes, a lot of people, you can tell what their color personality is just based off of how they interact and what they're passionate about, those kind of things. But sometimes it's really hard to tell. I think personally, when I find it hard to tell is when they've got a little bit going on of a couple different colors. But there are 3 questions that you can ask that kind of guide you into how to address your prospect based off of their color personality, to determine what that color personality is. So the first one will be what you do for a living. And that's not a fail-proof question. That is a question that kind of gets your foot in the door and can guide you and lead you into some other questions. But a green personality would be someone that's like maybe an accountant or even a homeschooling mama, right? Because they love to learn. They want to share education with their kids. A yellow personality might be somebody that's working for an outreach ministry or someone that's a social worker. A red personality is going to be working probably a corporate job or a job where they're in leadership, like a teaching position. A blue personality is going to be doing a job where there's lots of fun things involved. But just because they work a particular job, I love this point, doesn't exactly mean that that's actually what color personality they are. And how you know is basically you're going to ask them and go a little deeper once you know what their career is. You're going to ask them what they love most about that job. That was part of the questions. What do you love most about your job? And if they're telling you that they're an accountant because their parents were an accountant, and that's what they taught them to do to be able to provide for their family, but they hate crunching numbers and they can't wait for the weekend to go out on a girls' night. Okay, that's probably not an indication that they're green. It's probably an indication that they were just trying to be financially secure, and they're probably more a blue personality type. So we've talked about the ways of differentiating between the personality types. Another way to tell the difference is asking them what they do in their free time. So I'm a yellow-red personality. I love to work really hard to nurture something and watch the fruits of my labor. And so gardening is what I love to do in my free time. I also love girls' nights out. That doesn't necessarily mean, so this is why it's saying, like, you can ask these questions, but it's not foolproof to tell you exactly what color someone is. But what they like to do in their free time, and even going deeper into the question and asking things like, what do you like most about that hobby or that time that what you're doing? Why do you do that? Even would be a good question. So why do you like to go out on girls' night? Why is it rewarding for you? Why do you look forward to it? And so I love some of these examples because I was literally thinking about some of the people on our team. It was cracking me up. There was one of these on here. It was about, I was thinking of Christina on this because she shared with us on a call recently that she would go to events and she was working at events. I love this about the red personality because they ask what you do in your free time, and the red says, free time, I don't have free time. I'm busy working my career and conquering the world. Did I tell you about all my accomplishments? Or they're just working. Like they can be halfway present with you, but mainly they're actually just working. They're like there with you because they love you, but they got things to be getting done. So I loved that. I thought that was so funny. And there are several parts throughout these chapters that all of you probably on this call, I could just think of something that reminds me of you. And it might not even be your color personality. So digging with the deeper questions is really good. And so basically why you're asking what you like most about the hobby or the job is because even the action itself is not going to tell you their feelings. Okay, so you're trying to expose their feelings when you're asking these questions, like, why is that important to you? Why does that have value to you? And so it gave examples like their personality colors are going to tell you things like, I love my job because I meet lots of new people every day. That would be a blue. I feel a deep sense of contribution when I help people find the job of their dreams. Like, these are all describing, and you guys, you read the chapters. you understand the differences. If you read the chapters between red, green, blue, and yellow, you understand the differences. But it's almost kind of like the Enneagram. You can be one number, but you have a wing off of that number. And so then we're talking about the language of colors. As we're asking these questions, we need to be listening for words, because sometimes these questions aren't going to be an emotional response that you can physically see because you're on the telephone. And that's how it opens up the chapters, talking about how do I know over the telephone? You're going to be listening for key words. And mainly the yellow words that you're going to be listening for. If you're talking to a yellow, you're going to know it because you're going to hear things like, I care, I feel in my heart, I want to help, I want to support, I feel responsible for, or, whatever it might be in regards to more about feelings and about serving. And then for a blue personality type, you're going to hear like awesome. You're going to hear awesome a lot. I know lots of blue people that say the word awesome like probably every 5 sentences, or that was really fun, or that was amazing, or that was super exciting or intense, or I've got to do that again. You've got to come with me. Like, they are the people that want to do the things and bring you along board because they have to share their excitement. And then the same with the red, you're going to hear words just like we talked about a minute ago: work, drive, force, profit, lucrative. I actually love the word lucrative. Success, goals. Those are words that are going to ignite a spark, and it's like their intonation changes when they say those kind of words, because they want you to feel that hunger for that too. And then the green type personality is going to give you words that are not just based off of facts, figures, data, but based off of security and loyalty. That's very important to the green personality type. So if you're hearing things like, I'm a company girl, you're probably going to hear that from a green personality type. That's something really important to them. Or it's really important to me that what I'm investing in is my leaders. Like, my huge goal is to help develop my leaders. That's just something really exciting for them. That's what they get passionate about. That's how we know our leader, Brittany, is a green, because those things are so important to her. And she's taught us to have those values as well as her leaders. And so the better we're listening and observing, the easier it is to distinguish the color personalities. And so some keywords, you don't have to memorize all the words in that last section for each color, but the keywords you want to try to remember are, like, for a yellow would be help, for blues it would be fun, exciting, adventure, for reds, power, results, achieve, for greens, information. And I would even go as far to say for greens, loyalty. And then motivating the different color personalities. This is the part I thought was really interesting, because even some color personalities, as I was reading through this, I was like, I know someone that's color personality, but isn't exactly motivated by what this is saying. And so network marketing leaders, we are all network marketing leaders. You own a business, you have people in your downline, and you are working to lead other people. Okay. So if you are that, it is your job to help motivate your team. And in order to do that, you have to know your team, not collectively, but as individuals. And so we're not just talking about prospects here. We're talking about how to help your leaders to get to their goals by getting to know who they are and what's going to help them propel through being inspired towards those goals. And so basically, one type of motivation doesn't fit everyone. So Brittany could get on a call with her leaders and say, all right, guys, I want you to do 700 new contacts in the next 30 days. Who is actually probably going to do that is Christina. Because Christina's going to be like, all right, I'm up for the challenge. She's excited about that. But if Brittany said, all right, we need to help 40 people on our team in your downline, Chris, in the next 2 months. We need to help 40 people feel as good as we do every day. Like, it's ridiculous that people are out there suffering. If she would totally rope me in if she used words like that, because I don't want people suffering. And like for Emily and Michelle, there's something different about them too. And what I really thought was important out of this chapter was that you could get to a personality type. Like, for instance, I'm going to use the yellow again. and address them one way, and they're not going to be motivated by it. But you give them a different direction to head in to motivate them, and they are going to overcome their fears. So literally what motivation does for people is help them overcome their fears to pursue what you're helping to lead them towards. And so it talked about in here that yellows will leave their comfort zone to help others, okay? Reds will leave their comfort zone to be able to succeed and make a lucrative income and be the best. Blues will leave their comfort zone to be a part of the fun and the excitement. Greens don't really like to leave their comfort zone. It's what is said in that book. Don't try to motivate a green. You're just going to waste your time. Give them their time and your loyalty, and they'll come along eventually because they want to make sure that this decision that they're making is solid, it is sound, it is a good investment, all of those things, a high priority for them. So I think that I want to look right here. I think there was one more thing. Oh, I thought this was really interesting. So, and you guys can unmute yourself after this part because I'm going to ask you a question. But it said, don't forget about recognition when the company newsletter features a husband, wife, 2 children, a dog, posing for a picture in front of a new upscale home with a luxury car in the driveway. You guessed it. The picture is to motivate the Reds who read the newsletter, which is funny because I wouldn't anticipate the Reds will be the ones to read the newspaper. I would anticipate that that would be the Blues or the Greens because they're wanting information or they're wanting to see about like the excitement of what's going on. And the Yellows even maybe just to see what the organization is doing to help people. Okay, like how are we being involved in outreach? And I thought that was really interesting that this said it was for Reds only because it's a vanity picture. Okay, so it's basically just saying I've accomplished this. This company wants to feature these people because they have accomplished such a high goal that most people haven't got to, or maybe they've gotten to, and it, like there's a certain reason why they're special and they're in there. And that is an automatic challenge to a Red. Like I love the part where it talks about a Red personality a challenge all day long and the Reds can't help but do it. I was literally thinking, this sounds like probably Brittany and Christina. Like if I could be a fly on the wall, Brittany's over there like, I know how to motivate her. I'm going to tell her to do something ridiculous and then I'm going to do it myself and then she's going to have to beat what I challenged her to do. Oh, so funny. But I thought that was so interesting because I have known Blues that absolutely are totally like drawn in by diamond documentaries and the success they see because that looks fun to them. So I want to hear your guys' take on anything that really stood out for you, but also anything that you really thought, I have actually seen someone this personality type, but they were motivated by something in a different color personality. So I have a few that I really could think of.
That was really good, Chris.
Thank you.
Really good. I thought a lot of what you said, I don't know if you guys are listening to the Abby Kappa podcast, but she talked about the color personalities this week. And so she said a lot of the same things. And one thing that I thought was interesting, Chris, which you asked the question of, have you ever seen somebody one color personality act a different way? And she said that yellows are the hardest to motivate, which I thought was interesting because, I mean, you stay motivated 90% of the time. So immediately I thought about you. I was like, well, I wonder why Chris stays motivated if yellows are the hardest to motivate. And then she talked about blues. They're hard to motivate individually. Like that's where your like group accountability and stuff comes in, which I thought was interesting. I think everybody like, okay, for me, I'm not a yellow. Okay. Right. I love my yellows. Thank God. But like when they play these stories at convention or whatever, like because of Plexus, dude, I think I turn on, like I'm a little yellow. I turn a little colors because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that person was helped. No, I don't think I should go help the people, but I'm like, that is so nice that someone helped them. But I mean, it's motivating to me because I'm like, that's awesome, So, I mean, everybody got a little something in them, except green. I do not have that. And Brittany, I feel manipulated now that I know that's been your plan all along. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Chris. You exposed her. I see you. I see you.
I think as far as people like being a certain color but being motivated by something else, I mean, he says very clearly in the book that reds think they're yellows. I have some yellows, and you know who you are. She's not competitive. She's just helping all the people do this. Just solve. She is a red for days and she cannot see it. So sometimes your reds think that they are yellow. They want to be yellows in their head, but really, in practicality, they're motivated by red things. And Christina, it really is easy. And sometimes it's a game. So I'll be like, how are you shouting to 10 people today? You'd be like, oh, I'm doing 12. That's how you get Christina to work harder. You just work a little, you tell her how hard you're working, and she gonna one up you every time. Every time.
I love it. I love that part too that was about the yellow personality type, when you tell them to go on that they're gonna get to go on this amazing trip, and they're like, but I'm gonna have to get a cat sitter for my cat Fluffy or something, and I'm like, I'm supposedly a yellow personality type, and I'm not thinking about my cat. I'm like, who am I going to pay to take care of my cat so I can get to Hawaii? Like, so that didn't resonate with me, but I just thought that was really funny, because if you are a yellow personality type, I want to hear from you. Is that something that goes across your mind? Like, oh, who's going to, like, I can't help all the people if I'm just out enjoying myself. Like, no, it's time. Like, come on, let's go.
I think that would have been me before I had kids. And then I realized that I needed time away. So before, I was never good at separating. Like, I always had to do, and I had, all these things to get done and all the people to help. But like, I love my boys, but last week was so good. I needed that space away. So that has helped me overcome that.
Yeah, talking about kids and going on trips. I don't know if this is a yellow thing, but anytime that I'm about to go on a trip, I'm like, I have teenagers, right? So I can text them, and I'm putting out this big, long text message of like all the things I love about them, and I want them to remember in case anything happens, because it's so important to me that they know how special they are, and God has these amazing plans. Maybe that's just me, but I pretty much do that every time. My kids think I'm ridiculous for it, so I can relate.
Chris, old school. That's funny. Well, Reds don't think that. Reds are like, I'll fly this plane by myself. Like, I mean, this plane ain't going down. It ain't going down with me on it. Oh, heck no. So are the yellows the one who cannot say no? Like, are y'all those that, like, you run yourself ragged to, like, take the casseroles and, like, pick up the old people's groceries from across the street? My mother-in-law's a yellow, and y'all, she has more old people that she helps, and I'm thinking to myself, do I have to do this? Like, is there a service that you can hire out that will take care of the old people in the neighborhood? But I mean, she does, and she's on call 24 hours a day. Like, if somebody falls down beside the commode, she goes and picks them up. I'm like, I don't know about that. Anyway, you yellows are precious. Everybody needs a yellow in their life. Jackie's a yellow because I told her I wasn't feeling good today, and she's like, can I bring you soup? I'm like, what? Why would I want soup? I don't feel good. But that's her love language. And she also walked in the house yesterday, y'all, and I gave her a big old hug, and she's like, thank you for hugging me. I know that's not your thing. So we're learning each other. It's amazing.
Well, I think it also depends on your mesh of different colors, because in all of this, I've learned I thought I was more of a yellow, but I'm actually more of like a blue-yellow, which then turns into a green, with red like jumps in every now and then, but not really. So it's interesting just to see, like, as I've been progressing, and it's different times, like, or different seasons, one color will push ahead of another. I don't know if you guys have that feeling or have had that happen. You're like, man, I am blue today. Shoot, let me talk to everybody, work the room. And then other days I'm like, oh, that's terrible. So it's been interesting just watching the journey of myself, and then being able to see as people see them shift colors as well, like as you're talking to them. It is like a game. It is fun. I agree.
I
I
think
totally. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's interesting to me that Abby said yellows are the hardest to motivate. I think she probably said that because she's a strong red. Because I don't feel like yellows are the hardest to motivate. They probably are if you are a red trying to motivate a yellow, because you're just gonna struggle to speak a yellow's language. But I mean, I have a lot of yellow workers, and all you do is you just talk. I mean, when you have products that really help people, that resonates with a yellow, and so you just talk about that.
Is Abby Kappa a yellow?
No,
Why is
No.
she trying to help all us with her podcast?
she is a red.
So she wants to be the best podcaster?
Yeah, and she is. She is the best
She is
podcaster.
the best.
She is the best podcaster.
Well, she also real helpful, so she need to keep going being the best.
Hmm.
Give her a prize.
I love in the book how he says, "Do not let blues explain anything." I can't. I have this one Jewel friend. She's a blue, and I just learned very early on, like, you can ask one little tiny question, and then like you get 10-minute long voice messages in response. And I'm like, man, I could have watched a training video in the time it took her to answer this question. I'm not answering this blue any more questions.
Yes, and on coaching calls with blues, it is like literally you ask one question and they have an entire conversation with themselves the first 15 minutes, and you're like, okay, we gotta like refocus here so we can actually accomplish what we got on the phone to do, because they want to give you all the little itty bitty details of everything.
How do you attract the blue? I need blue, I think. I don't think I got many blues.
Well, sorry, can you hear over the music, the kids
Yeah.
in my room? How do you attract a blue? Well, I have a couple blues on my team, and they said because they saw me going on the cruise and all my fun pictures and the prizes that I've won and how much fun we're having. And she said that's one of the primary reasons she joined me versus other people. Now, that person also talks too much, and I had to, just the other day, she had an epiphany. I'm not asking questions because I'm talking too much. But she did join me because I went on a cruise.
Okay. Discover a different color about myself. After Victor pointed out and had me on stage, I realized how much I do like to have fun. So I think I found a little blue in myself last week that I didn't know I had. Because normally I want to sit in the room at the table and watch everybody go by and watch everybody do whatever. And I'm just like, yep, I'm a people watcher.
Yeah, Stephanie, I have a video to prove it.
Yeah, let's not bring that out, okay? It's very embarrassing. I can't watch.
Fabulous video.
No.
We had fun people watching.
When he
Yeah, that's
called
the
me out,
reason
I
none
was
of us
like,
have a voice.
I was like, me? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh God.
You nailed it, though.
That will not happen again, I promise.
Denise, I just saw your comment that someone at work mentioned today that you look like you had lots of fun. Was that a blue woman or
You know,
man?
it's somebody I don't know. It was a woman in the ladies' room, and she's actually somebody that I had approached back in January. She was this close to buying a welcome pack, and then she just cut me off. But we see each other in the restroom at work occasionally, so she just commented to me today, "Looks like you had a great time on your trips."
Mm-hmm.
So it's not somebody I know very well.
Well, I had lunch with a dream teamer of mine today. She did not join me yet. And she's like a blue Brooke Hemingway, if that gives you an idea about who she is. And she commented, she goes, it looks like you had a fabulous time. And all those people you're with look amazing and so much fun and so positive and so uplifting. I was like, yeah, they are. We did have a fabulous time. But they're noticing. They're all noticing and watching.
Now I was wondering, I just did the strength finders. Do you think it would help people, this is for anyone, do you think it would help recognizing what color you are, or colors, because really people tend to be a mix, and then figuring out like what your strengths in those areas are? I feel like that gave me more of a perspective of like how much color I was more, or when I started operating more in like a certain color. Because then if I recognize when I'm more in, let's say, a blue, then I know how to also connect with a yellow in that moment. Does that make sense? But just wondering your guys' thoughts on the combination.
I would say yes, now that I think about the strengths finder test, because my number one strength was learning. Shocker. And Christina's was activator. Like once a decision has been made, she's immediate action. Like when they said convention's going to be in Nashville, she literally had the house booked in 30 minutes and wanted everybody's deposit right then. Everybody's like at the airport. She's like, so yeah, I think your strengths finder test results could give you some strong indicators of what color you are.
I've actually, with some of my prospects, as I'm building the relationship with them, I'll ask them to do an Enneagram test. I'll be like, oh, I just took this test. I want to know what yours is, or even like the love language test. So I think that's a good way to do it too. If you feel awkward, because I kind of feel awkward being like, so what do you most enjoy? Like, why do you do your job? Or like, what is your hobby? What do you do in your free time? Like those are, to me, those are not like a normal question. So, but I would be like, oh my gosh, I just took this test and it's really interesting. Go do this and tell me what your results are. Like that is, I think that could be another way you could find out.
That's so funny, Chris, because today I literally asked the girl that I was at the pool with, so what do you like to do for fun? Didn't faze me at all.
Okay, that sounds better than saying, what do you like to do in your free time? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a little awkward. Yeah.
Especially if you do it with that face Chris just made.
So funny.
All right. Well, I think we're good. If nobody else has anything, Christina just posted in the team page our next book study, Developing the Leaders Around You. And we're going to start that.
Of course I did.
Because she's a red and she's like, come on, we got to get on it. But we were like, whoa, honey. Next week is 4th of July. No, I'm kidding. She actually did really good. She was like, guys, should we wait until the 11th? Because it's the 4th of July.
The law buy-in. I'm trying.
You're doing a great job, Christina.
Oh, thanks, Chris. I love you.
But yeah, so, all right, guys. I really enjoyed this book study. I think it's been one of the most fun, and I'm really excited to get, I'm assuming that the next book is going to be pretty serious, and I'm excited because that's going to mean some awesome things for Leaders Retreat, right? We're going to be developing leaders, so all about it.
Yes, I didn't even think about that correlation, but you're onto something. Leaders Retreat is for leaders. It's going to be good. I've not read this book that we're about to read, so I'm excited about it. I think so, but I mean, I
speak for yourself. I'm on chapter 4. Does that count?
Oh, that's awesome.
And there's a workbook, guys. There's a workbook.
Is this the?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to get the workbook.
No, that's not the pages I sent you. That's a different book. Listen, I'm all over the place over here. I'm activating everything. There's some Bible up in there. There's some John Maxwell. There's some Rudy Giuliani or whatever his name is. Oh, there's all kinds of stuff. But there's a workbook, guys, and it's good. get the workbook.
Awesome. All right, guys. Good night. Thank y'all for hopping on. We'll see y'all not next week. Well, we'll see y'all Monday night.